All right, good morning. Good morning. Okay, so we're going to start on extending our stoichiometry skills. A couple of you are still working on requizzing on the intro to Stoich, which is going to give you the idea of setting up mole ratios, solving one step equations. But there are a good amount of you, I'd venture to say almost half of you, are pretty proficient. You scored really well on the quiz. If you scored anything less than 100 on that quiz, I already redirected you and gave you an opportunity to requiz. That is open until Friday. I highly recommend that you go back in and give it a try again. We've been practicing stoichiometry for going on 3 weeks, including this week. So there are plenty of screencasts. I've had at least 3 to 4 live reviews on this, and there will be another one on Thursday, so tomorrow around 12:15 p.m. So forgive me, coffee's super important. So mass to mole stoichiometry it's just one extra step. So it's actually taking all the skills that we learned with mole conversions, so moles to atoms, atoms to moles, and then moles to grams, and then grams to moles, and applying it here. So you will have one more step, and that's either going to be converting from moles to grams or converting from grams to moles. And we have two problems in here that will cover both ways. All right, so this is kind of what I mean by one more step. So usually when I give two-step stoichiometry equations, I'm not going to be asking you to balance the chemical equation because you're already doing enough work. And I try to choose pretty simple equations. This way you guys have more of a feeling of the process rather than worrying about all the extraneous details. So here I've got my balanced chemical equation. I've got nitrogen and hydrogen forming ammonia, or NH3. And it's the same start, it's the same setup. So I have to identify the desired substance. So, what is my end goal? What am I looking for? And the starting. So, what am I given to start with? So, if this is my problem, calculate the number of grams. Oof, I see grams here, which means I've already got a two-step equation. And of H2 required to form 12 moles of NH3. All right, so I've got grams, I've got moles. I just have to figure out where the conversion is going to happen. So I've got to set up my problem. So I've got to set up my starting substance. So my starting substance is already in moles. So I do not have to do a conversion to start with. So if my starting substance is in moles, I can set up my starting substance, multiply it by my mole ratio, and then I have to convert that into my grams. So my starting substance is 12 moles of NH3. I highlighted that in red for you guys so you guys can kind of like keep track of the color scheme here, especially if it gets a little bit confusing. So here's my starting substance. That's my given. So I take my starting substance and I multiply it by my mole ratio. If you don't know what a mole ratio is, you need to go back to the first set of screencasts, go to my YouTube channel. You will find how to set up mole ratios. So the mole ratio comes from the balanced chemical equation, and I do my desired substance over my starting substance. I don't make the numbers up. I pull it right from the chemical equation. So my desired substance is H2. So according to my chemical equation, I have 3 moles of H2 are used for every 2 moles of NH3. Now you will notice I've got lines here. And the reason for that is that I'm canceling out my units. So 12 moles moles of NH3 here, moles of NH3 here, I can cancel them out and I'm left with moles of H2. So when I plug this into a calculator, 12 times 3 over 2, I get 18 moles of H2. Now, my question is telling me calculate the number of grams. So then I have to convert moles to grams. So I need my molar mass. So my molar mass of H2 is 2 grams per mole. And then I will multiply my 18 moles of H2 times 2 grams over 1 mole, and that will give me 36 grams of H2. Now, if you are just sitting here listening to me and just trying to absorb this like a sponge without, grabbing pen, paper, writing this down, doing practice on your own, you're not going to absorb it as well. So follow step by step. Write these things down